Veletes, thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. Africans are uniting more than ever. When Donald Trump, the president of the United States of America, decided to impose tariffs on us, thinking that this is going to weaken us, but this has become an opportunity for Africans and our brothers in the diaspora to reunite. Now we have Afro-Caribbean, where we are coming together to work together as a people. The Caribbeans are suffering just as we are doing here. Everything of theirs belongs to the West and America. Even though they have flags, they have anthem claiming they are independent just like Africans. Everything of theirs ends up in the United States of America. They get nothing in return, as Trump is always thinking about his American first agenda, putting the interests of the United States of America over anything. Now that things are like this, our brothers in the Caribbean are looking beyond the ocean. Where do we go? We have to look back to our brothers back home. Let's unite. Let's trade among ourselves. Unity is everything that the African needs. This is the only thing that can help us defeat anybody that is fighting against us. This is an opportunity for us to come together and do things together. If we start trading among ourselves, seeing ourselves as one people, we will get to our destination.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the world can no longer afford to waste the economic potential of Africa and the Caribbean. For too long, systemic barriers have prevented these regions from realizing their full potential. These regions possess everything needed for prosperity: abundant resources, young populations bursting with talent, cultures that have shaped global innovation. Yet, they remain locked out of the rooms where economic rules are written. Economic growth reaches 3.5% in Africa and over 2% in the Caribbean. Even so, both regions are facing a $1.5 trillion financing gap for the Sustainable Development Goals. Vital sectors such as renewable energy, agriculture, and tourism are the first to feel the effects. At the same time, debt burdens are crushing fiscal space, preventing public investment and stalling progress.
This year's African Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum comes at a tenuous moment for the global economy and for the SMEs around the world, amid tariff escalations, a changing climate, and growing levels of fragility and conflict. But we can't just wait to see what decisions are taken elsewhere or what new crises will emerge on the horizon. We can and must act together, which is why I want to give you a number and then set out a few of the opportunities and hurdles for getting there. That number is $2.1 billion. That's how much trade between Africa and the Caribbean could grow in 5 years if trade barriers are slashed and investments are made in key sectors, according to our research with the Afreximbank. Sectors like minerals and metals, processed food and animal feed, manufactured products, tourism, transport, and the creative industries, where ITC and the Afreximbank are now gearing up to launch targeted interventions to boost exports, enable diversification, and ensure small businesses have what they need to compete. But we're also talking about far more than just a number. We're talking about an opportunity to change the terms for how our regions engage with one another and with the global economy at large. A chance to build on our deep cultural connections and restore some of what has been lost to the more painful moments of our region's shared history. That's what events like ACTIV are helping make possible. I want to thank our partners at the Afreximbank for their leadership in creating this extraordinary forum and for raising the bar every year. And I want to thank the government of Grenada for hosting this year's edition and spurring us all to keep going further and faster together. Every delay or setback we face means leaving SMEs and their communities exposed to the instabilities in the international trading system, which is why strengthening Afro-Caribbean trade ties and value chains can't wait. And that's what I hope we can take home with us from ACTIV 2025. Thank you.
Conditioned our economies to export raw materials to the north and import manufactured goods, tying our economic fortunes to the vagaries of the global commodity markets. As a result, trade has concentrated in a few narrow set of lines, tariff lines, unprocessed goods, undermining value addition and industrial development in our two regions, this can no longer sustain. Yes, several obstacles continue to hold us back, including limited air and maritime connectivity, very high bilateral tariffs on processed goods, divergent custom procedures and regulatory systems that inhibit a closer market integration. More importantly, we are now actively working to overcome these obstacles and to build a robust transatlantic economic corridor that links our regions more meaningfully. The value proposition we present is a $3.4 trillion United States dollar market with a combined population of 1.4 billion people as an anchor for our two regions on trade and investment. And in this regard, I hope that when our leaders, that is to say, Caribbean and African Union leaders, convene in Addis Ababa next month, that this matter of trade and investment will be at the fore of their agenda. The AfCFTA provides a continental market of scale, underpinned by rules, investment, and industrial development. This anchor is a very important launchpad for future trade and investment relations. Looking ahead, the potential for deeper cooperation is considerable. Key sectors for growth include agro-processing, healthcare, tourism, energy, and other sectors. At its very core, Africa-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum 2025 is a strategic extension of the AfCFTA and what we seek to achieve under the leadership of the Assembly of Heads of States and Government of the African Union. Working together, we can move beyond outdated colonial economic models and build a more equitable and resilient global Africa and an economic bloc that will support that vision. In this uncertain world, deeper Africa-Caribbean economic cooperation is no longer an option. It is a requirement for us to be able to navigate the challenges that I set out at the onset. In this last edition, under Professor Orama's leadership, we want to surpass the $4 billion of investment that we concluded at the last event. Our partnership must be anchored in the commitment to eliminate barriers to inter-regional investment, eliminate barriers to inter-regional trade, movement of persons, in order for us to see the fruition of a truly commercially meaningful partnership. I want to end where I started, and that is the observation that our two regions must no longer not continue to rely on others to have and to forge a mutually beneficial trade and investment relationship. We must no longer rely on others to provide a platform for us Africans to enter into a dialogue about mutually advancing our benefits. This edition of the Africa Trade and Investment Forum must be a shining example of how we, as Africans, can collaborate to forge a new partnership, to navigate along a new pathway in this context of a challenging global environment. I very much look forward to our deliberations over the next 2 days, and I want to once again thank you, Comrade Prime Minister, for hosting us here in Grenada. I thank you for your attention.
Firstly, the establishment of an African-Caribbean free trade area should be our ultimate objective. It is not merely aspirational. It is a strategic inherent imperative, especially now. It has the potential to significantly boost trade and investment flows, reduce trade barriers, and enhance competitiveness on the global stage. Our collective action in this direction will redefine how Africa and the Caribbean community engage economically to boost interregional growth and prosperity. Secondly, reinforcing the Africa-Caribbean Business Council is essential to ensuring effective collaboration between the private sectors in both regions. The Council must serve as an active platform for matchmaking, investment facilitation, and strategic networking, empowering businesses to form lasting partnerships and drive sustainable economic development. And these two first points are translated in aspirations 2 and 6 of Agenda 2063. Thirdly, we must harness the power of the creative economy, an area uniquely rich in potential. Our cultural and creative industries are not only sources of pride and identity, but powerful engines of economic growth. By promoting cultural exchanges, co-productions, and joint ventures in creative sectors, we not only foster economic resilience, but we build stronger mutual understanding and lasting bonds between our peoples. There is a need for the true reflection and correction of the narrative about our historical past and achievements, which continue to be distorted by our history being told by others. This needs to be corrected. This aspect is captured in Agenda 2063 once again under Aspiration 5, which also speaks to Pan-Africanism. Fourthly, strengthening connectivity through robust air and maritime links is pivotal, as highlighted by Mr. Wamkele.
This tariff thing have really brought so much joy in the hearts of the African, making us to look beyond everything and to see that the only place that we can go and be free is reuniting among ourselves is a beautiful thing. And for us to see that when things become difficult, the only thing that can bail us out is for us to reunite. We are the ones that are still living in a world that was created by other people for us. I am in the Caribbean. I am not African. I am in Africa. I am not a Caribbean. This is a world that was created for us. Until we are able to move ourselves out of this world, we will never get anywhere. We are the ones that can save ourselves. Everybody is uniting and taking advantage of the African. We are the only ones that haven't realized that we are kept backwards for a purpose. Nobody will come and set us free. Everybody is thinking of his or her interest. So the African has to also look for his interest. This is a time for us to unite. This is a new world, a new era. And it is only the African that can do it. As things are this way in this world at this time, to reunite ourselves. It's so sad sometimes when you hear a black man who was taken away from Africa, about 12,000 ships moving them from here, saying, I am not an African. People cooked stories for us and we believe them. We have to rise up. We have to know that we are one people. If actually we want to be free, we have to fight for it. We have to create our own narrative. We have to start looking for things that are hidden away from us. We have to start digging to find who we are instead of believing and going after the narrative that was given to the African. The African is living in a world that we do not understand. Systems that were imposed on us that we do not understand. And we still cherish all these things because we ourselves are not ready to be free. This is the time for us to unite. And this is a new beginning. I am glad when I see my brothers outside of the continent always listening to what is happening in the continent. I am grateful. We are going somewhere. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world. In Africa, Caribbean.